What's up guys, my name is Ace, and early this week we got the big winter offensive update in Battlefield 6. And shortly after that update, it seemed the internet, at least within the Battlefield community, kind of blew up. Because while that update fixed a bunch of bugs and issues, it also introduced a ton of new ones. And thankfully, it didn't take too long to get a response from the developers, and I wanted to go through that because we've also already seen a bunch of fixes to these new issues that popped up, and there will be some more to come as well. So starting this off with this post, they did mention on December 12th, which actually just went live at the time of recording this video, this was an update on Steam that was designed to target the micro-stuttering issue that was introduced with the update earlier this week. And they say it also includes improvements to the main menu and firing range based on your recent reports. Because that was another big thing, especially with the firing range. It was showing inconsistent damage values, the hitboxes also seemed to be misaligned with the targets. And so that should be fixed now on Steam with today's update. However, they mentioned on December 15th, this is when we're going to be getting the update for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and the EA app. And they say this hotfix will include resolutions for issues related to the main menu and firing range. However, I did notice, I hopped in on PS5, I wanted to show off what these firing range issues looked like since I hadn't recorded it yet. And I was going to include that in today's video, but it looks like that hotfix already went live on PlayStation. So it looks like these are server-side hotfixes they're able to do, and at least the one for the firing range seems to be live on all platforms. Now, with that out of the way, let's go through the list of all of the issues they've identified. Many of these have been resolved. The first one is in Battle Royale. Users would remain stuck in the air during insertion. That one was resolved early on. Same thing with the Battle Pass tier skipping with Winter Offensive bonus path. They had to temporarily disable this on all platforms, but then they got it resolved, so that's been fixed as well. Another one was the changes to soldier momentum. A lot of people thought they nerfed movement again because you would lose a lot more momentum than we're used to during successive jumps and slides. That turned out to be a bug with the update. That was resolved. Then for daily challenge rewards, when the update first hit, they reverted the XP per challenge from 5,000 XP down to 3,000 XP like we used to see. That was unintentional. They fixed that. It's back up to 5,000 XP. For Conquest, the ticket count reverted back to 1,000 instead of 1,200. Again, that one was resolved already. Then for main menu navigation, that was the one that was addressed at least on Steam today. And this is where some players were experiencing a hard lock on the bulletin panel or difficulty navigating menu tiles. I personally didn't run into this one myself at all, but I know a lot of people have had issues with this. And as they said, this one should be fixed at least on Steam. It may or may not be fixed on the other platforms. Just like with the firing range issue, they may have snuck that in there with a hotfix. I don't know for sure because, like I said, I didn't experience this before, so I can't really tell if it's fixed. But then on top of that, there was micro-stuttering that was taking place at set intervals, specifically on Steam, they say. Although I have seen some reports from people that aren't on Steam that mention they've been experiencing this as well. In either case, that should have been resolved at least on Steam with this update, as well as the firing range issue that we already covered. Now, after that, they adjusted how they're tracking stats from bots, and I'm glad they addressed this because this was a complaint that was popping up in the community. They mentioned with this, earlier this year, we removed bot kills from player stats, which I think was a good thing because people that were playing in bot matches were getting really heavily inflated stats compared to everyone else, and it just made those stats irrelevant. I mean, they're kind of irrelevant to begin with, but it made them even more irrelevant. So they removed those bot kills from our stats, but they ran into an issue removing the deaths from bots from that. So then it was kind of unfair if you played a lot of bot matches. Even if you were only getting a few deaths in those matches, you were getting no kills, but a few deaths. And so it was skewing your stats in the other direction. And that resulted in inconsistencies, and therefore, they've temporarily re-enabled bot kills to keep values aligned. Now, they go on to say their goal is to fully resolve this issue in future updates, and they're currently investigating improvements to the profile page that allow customization of what stats you want to show. And I think that's great. It's good to see that they are trying to get this worked out instead of just kind of sweeping it under the rug and not really bothering with it. Because yeah, I think at the end of the day, bot kills or deaths just shouldn't count at all. Or maybe they should just be separated. Put your like bot kill death ratio versus your player kill death ratio. In either case, if you're looking at your stats and they look a whole lot different than before the update, this is why. Then a lot of people were having issues with rubber banding with min-spec systems, so lower quality PCs. This is something where they say resolution is in development, so they're still working on a fix for this. And they go on to mention if you are having an issue with this, which you can check by going in your performance quality settings within the graphics tab, they mention if the sim rate is dropping, try capping your frame rate in the advanced graphics settings to help balance CPU usage, which is not an ideal workaround having to cap your FPS on PC, but that should at least help with those issues of rubber banding if you're having those issues until they get this resolved. So those are the main issues they've been tracking and working on, or have already fixed. Actually, in most of those cases, they've already fixed them, and that's awesome to see. After that, they went through some community feedback after this update as well. So not necessarily things that are broken from a technical perspective, but more so from a balance perspective. And the first one is something I had some frustration with. This is in Breakthrough, they adjusted how many vehicles were spawning for attackers. And on certain maps and in certain situations, that was way overboard to the point where it's just so hard to defend against all these vehicles that are coming in. And for me, it was just kind of ruining the flow of Breakthrough as I was used to it. I was really enjoying Breakthrough, and then the update hit. Now it's just constantly vehicles in every lane. And sure, you switch over to Engineer and try to take them out and stuff, but it changed how Breakthrough played so much. And they basically just mentioned they're aware of that feedback and will be looking into things for the future. Then for vehicles, they've heard concerns about tanks taking unintended damage in specific situations. And they said they've addressed this in this update by fixing cases where projectile interactions were not behaving as expected. And they also heard that armored vehicles could take inconsistent damage depending on angle, which I thought was intentional design. I made a whole video talking about that. Apparently that's not intentional, or maybe they're just tightening up the range of damage that you're dealing with that. But in either case, on top of that, they've also seen a growing amount of feedback on air-to-air combat, and they're reviewing targeted changes to improve these encounters for early next year. So these updates will be coming in the near future at least, so after the new year. And one of the specific changes they point out here is they plan on reducing the jet cannon damage to increase the average life expectancy for jet pilots. On top of that, they say beyond Season 1, they're investigating a dedicated air radar system that will help with visibility and situational awareness during air engagements. And there we have it. That pretty much wraps it up for this post. I wanted to go through the details of this, largely just to give them props. I know in an ideal world, you wouldn't be breaking a bunch of things when a major update hits. Obviously, that sucks when that happens. But with a big game like this, stuff like that is going to happen from time to time. And I think what really matters is how they respond to that. And they've responded perfectly, in my opinion. They got on top of this very quickly, resolved a bunch of those issues within a day or two, and more importantly, communicated everything very clearly to the community with very specific steps and actions that they were planning on taking. That's the right way to handle this. I wish more game companies would follow suit with this sort of communication. And this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. Now that things have settled in a little bit and some of these issues have been resolved, how are you feeling about the current state of Battlefield 6 after this update? Are you still experiencing any major issues that were introduced with the update? Or have things generally gotten a lot better for you? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.